There's something that happens to empaths that nobody prepares them for. They walk into a room feeling perfectly fine, and within minutes they're carrying emotions that don't belong to them. Someone else's anxiety becomes their anxiety. Someone else's sadness becomes their weight to hold. And by the end of the day, they're emotionally destroyed without understanding why. Most empaths assume this is simply who they are, that absorbing other people's energy is the price of being sensitive, that they were built without a filter, and there's nothing they can do about it. But Carl Jung would disagree with every part of that belief. Jung spent his career observing the relationship between consciousness and psychic energy, and what he discovered was that empaths don't lack protection. They lack the awareness of how to activate the protection that already exists within them. He identified what I call the 4 pillars of energetic protection, and they form the foundation that every empath needs to stop hemorrhaging their life force into a world that will take every drop you offer. Jung observed something in his most empathic patients that startled him. They could tell you in vivid detail what everyone around them was feeling, but when he asked them what they were feeling, they went silent. They didn't know. Not because they were emotionally unintelligent, but because they had spent so long attuned to other people's emotional reality that they had completely lost contact with their own. Jung called this a form of psychic inflation. The empath's awareness had expanded so far outward that their own emotional center had become foreign territory. They were experts in everyone else's inner world and strangers in their own. And this, Jung realized, was the root vulnerability. Because when you don't know what belongs to you emotionally, you can't distinguish your feelings from someone else's. Everything bleeds together. Every emotion in the room becomes yours because you've forgotten where you end and other people begin. Energetic ownership is the practice of returning to yourself before engaging with anyone else. It means learning to identify your baseline emotional state, the way you actually feel before other people's energy enters the picture. It means pausing before you react to someone else's mood and asking a deceptively simple question: is this mine? Jung found that empaths who develop this habit of internal checking begin to experience something extraordinary. The emotions that don't belong to them start losing their grip. Not because the empath has become less sensitive, but because awareness itself creates a boundary that no amount of willpower ever could. Most empaths believe that protecting their energy means building walls. Jung would tell you that walls are the wrong metaphor entirely. Walls are rigid, permanent, and they block everything, including the genuine connection the empath needs to thrive. What actually works is something far more sophisticated: conscious withdrawal. Conscious withdrawal is the empath's ability to be fully present in a situation while simultaneously pulling their energy back to their own center. Think of it as the difference between standing in a river and being swept away versus standing in the same river with your feet firmly planted on the bottom. You're still in the water, you still feel the current, but it doesn't carry you. Jung noticed that empaths who mastered this skill developed a particular quality he called psychic sovereignty. They could sit with someone in terrible pain and feel genuine compassion without their own nervous system collapsing under the weight of it. They could witness anger without absorbing it. They could hold space for grief without drowning in it. The key was that they maintained connection to their own center, even while engaging with someone else's emotional chaos. This isn't dissociation. Jung was very clear about that distinction. Dissociation is disconnecting from the experience entirely. Conscious withdrawal is remaining fully present while directing your energy inward rather than outward. It's the difference between leaving the room emotionally and choosing not to empty yourself into it. Here's where Jung's framework becomes genuinely transformative for empaths. Most advice tells empaths to either be open or be closed, feel everything or shut down. But Jung recognized a third option that changes the entire game: selective permeability. Selective permeability is the empath's ability to choose what they let in and what they keep out, not through force or suppression, but through conscious discernment. It's the psychological equivalent of a cell membrane, which doesn't block everything and doesn't let everything through. It selects, it filters. It makes intelligent decisions about what serves the organism and what would destroy it. Jung found that empaths who develop selective permeability stop experiencing their sensitivity as a curse and begin experiencing it as exactly what it was always meant to be, a tool. They can walk into a room, read the emotional landscape with complete accuracy, and then decide which parts of that landscape to engage with and which parts to let pass through without attaching. They feel the anger without carrying it home. They sense the sadness without making it their project. They notice the manipulation without getting hooked by it. This pillar requires something that most empaths resist with everything they have: the willingness to let other people sit in their own discomfort. Because selective permeability means choosing not to absorb pain that isn't yours to carry. And for an empath who has been trained since childhood that other people's feelings are their responsibility, that choice feels like abandonment. But Jung would tell you it's not abandonment, it's respect. Respect for the other person's capacity to handle their own emotional experience, and respect for yourself. The final pillar addresses something that most empaths completely neglect. Even with the first three pillars in place, empaths still give more energy than non-empaths. They still feel more deeply, process more intensely, and expend more psychic energy in everyday interactions. This isn't a flaw. It's simply how they're wired. But it means they require intentional restoration in ways that other people don't. Jung observed that his empathic patients who thrived long-term all had one thing in common. They had developed non-negotiable practices for replenishing their energy, not as luxury, not as occasional self-care, as survival. These practices varied from person to person, but they shared certain characteristics. They involved solitude. They required genuine disconnection from other people's emotional fields, and they were treated as sacred, meaning the empath protected that time with the same fierce energy they used to protect everyone else. Jung described this as returning to the self, capital S. The empath comes back to their own psychic center, processes what they've absorbed, releases what isn't theirs, and reconnects with their own emotional truth. Without this regular restoration, even the most skilled empath eventually burns out. Their sensitivity becomes a liability rather than a gift. Their boundaries erode, their discernment fades, and they find themselves right back where they started, absorbing everything and wondering why they're exhausted. What makes these four pillars so powerful isn't any single one in isolation. It's the way they work together as an integrated system. Energetic ownership tells you what's yours. Conscious withdrawal keeps you centered when the world tries to pull you out of yourself. Selective permeability lets you engage without being destroyed. And energetic restoration ensures you have something left to give to the people and purposes that actually deserve your energy. Jung would tell you that these pillars aren't techniques. They're aspects of psychological maturity that every empath is capable of developing. They don't require you to become less sensitive. They require you to become more conscious. And there's a profound difference between those two things. You were never meant to carry everyone's pain. You were meant to feel deeply, connect authentically, and then return to your own center whole and intact, not drained, not depleted, not destroyed by a gift you were never taught to manage. The sensitivity isn't the problem. The lack of protection was. And now you have the foundation to change that. Not by shutting down what makes you extraordinary, but by finally learning to protect it.